Welcome to Let's Talk About Web3 with Easy and Ohnahji B. I am your host with these guys co-hosting. Doing this for the third time. BetterCallZaal. And yeah, we're here. We're ready to rock it out. We took a couple weeks sabbatical. I was out in FarCon and rocking it out with a couple different things last week. But we're here. We're connected. We have our first episode on pods, which is super exciting. On chain, social media. And we're gonna just talk about stuff that we find cool in the decentralized world of tools out here in Web3. And we're gonna, theme different episodes and kind of theme this one a little more towards the Farcaster theme because of me going to FarCon. But there's also a lot of other news outside of FarCon in the general system because we've been gone for 3 weeks and there's always gonna be a lot of news there. So I don't know. What do you guys want to start out with first? How we doing today? First
Uh,
off, I guess.
Doing good, doing good. I'm super happy we're back. It never
Yeah,
hurts
what
to
are we all grateful for? I think we should. I feel like it'd be a cool thing to start each episode off with what we're grateful for. I think that'd be a nice way to like get in the moment and then rock it out with everything we're doing. How do we feel about that?
Let's
gratitude
do
is
it.
an excellent starting point. Yeah, I'm super grateful to that we're back. We're like Sal said, our what'd you say? It's our first third show. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I was gonna say it was
our,
my
our
first
first
time doing
third
this.
show.
Yeah, but then it
um,
worked
but
out well.
yeah, no, we're back, we're live, and I'm actually excited to hear, straight from the horse's mouth about FarCon because it looked amazing. I saw so many posts. I was like, dude, I would prefer to go to this over NFT NYC. Like from that's just from what I saw. I wasn't there on the ground. I've been to NFT NYC. This will be my fourth year going and speaking. It's great. It's very cool. Lots of great people are there. But it just looked like such a vibe, like so many cool little side things going on, and that happens at NFT NYC too. And maybe it's just because I'm more familiar with it, and this is something I'm not as familiar with, that it looked like the coolest thing like across the board that's happening. So yeah, I'm grateful to be back with you guys, and of course grateful for my family and being in pretty good health. I'm grateful to see the markets going up and up and up. That's nice. But yeah, I'll toss it over to Ohnahji.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. Man, I'm just grateful for the moment. I'm grateful for summertime. LA starting to heat up, a little too hot, but things are, it's nice to be outside, and like you're saying, it's cool to, tap in with some of these like conventions and these IRL events and stuff like that. And for LA, like for some reason, LA has to wait until it heats up in the summertime for us to do that. So I'm excited for the summertime. I'm excited for these events. But yeah, yeah, let's kick it over to Z. What's good?
I love it. I am grateful to be here with the two of you guys sharing my knowledge of what I experienced, but then also always being able to, excuse me, I'm grateful for always being able to have the opportunity to talk with amazing individuals like you guys that are super experienced in the space compared to me, and that gives me the opportunity to ask a lot of questions. And that is always something that I think I sometimes now take for granted. But recently, I've been having more conversations on the onboarding side, and that side of things has gotten me a lot closer to my ethos in why I've been here and why I've been coming here. So I'm very grateful for all of those opportunities. And we are hosting an event next Thursday here locally, which is going to be super exciting. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
Oh,
But yeah,
Yeah, that's dope.
I guess let's kick it off, right?
yeah.
So Farcon, what you said, pros cons, right? Many more people are gonna say that they would rather go to NFT NYC because of all the things, and I don't disagree. There's a lot more side events. There's a lot more people to meet, and there's a lot more non like people you can onboard, people that could buy your art. Anyone that's in New York. This was a lot more of a kind of select group of people. I wasn't even selected to go to the summit, right? Like I applied like this 2 months early, right? Put in all my info, but I wasn't one of the select few, like I said earlier, based individuals, right? And I still decided to go because Django's out in New York, and I knew there's gonna be some side events. I actually was talking to someone um, through a Little Nouns event, and from that he was saying that he was hosting this House of Nouns event through the Nouns ecosystem, and I wanted to get involved and just kind of check it out. So I chatted with him one on one. He's actually very minimally into Web3. He is brand designing in his full time job, so he utilizes nouns and brings artists together in a really cool way that's super unique. That going to that event was really cool for me because it was crazy quick story, I guess. The one of the little things at the bottom said that you could play against any Smash Melee player, one of the people that's in Nouns Esports, right? And I was like, okay, well, this is good. Django is big into Melee. Honestly, he started his Twitter off doing that for his brand. I think that's a big part of who he is and where he's come. Also, as being a musician, one of the suggestions we always got was lean into that. And I think now being able to do that with Nouns.gg and the Nouns esports ecosystem through Melee is awesome. And when we went there and I showed him the person, he was like, "Yeah, I've known this dude for the last like 10 years. We've been playing since we were kids." So that was just a really cool thing to see going out to FarCon. But overall, I think that FarCon was a crazy good opportunity. It was the third supposedly, right? So my first, third overall. I thought that most of the events that I went to, I saw a lot of other individuals that I was seeing that were the same, which is different than a lot of other conferences sometimes, where it's a lot of just straight new people, right? And I felt like that was an amazing opportunity where if you saw someone or met someone or heard someone at a first event or on the first day or on the second day, and you wanted to talk to them, but you were busy, you didn't get the chance, there were so many things going on, and you see them again at another event, you think, okay, like this is my opportunity now to talk to this individual and jump in on this. So there's a couple of individuals that I met at one event and then I continued to see throughout a bunch of the other events because there were not a crazy amount of different events all at the same time. There were maybe throughout the 3 or 4 days that were there, like 2 or 3 options total for you at any point, and maybe sometimes there was only one, right? So that was really cool to see, and that was on like the main page. I'm sure there were a couple other events that weren't, right? But I think
Well,
I wrote down my pros and cons as well too of the event
nice.
organization and what they did. But what were you gonna ask, Easy? Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say that actually sounds better than having 20 things to choose from at any moment because it can get overwhelming. You're like, oh, do I go to the like Doodles event or the like Gutter Punks or the there in New York? There's so many things happening that you literally have like a pretty decent challenge just deciding on basically you decide on what you're going to miss, right? You're like, oh, I can't, like, I've got to go to this, that means I'm missing that. I've got to go
Okay.
to this and I'm missing that. Like you're under this pressure to like decide who you support, what you get to see, who you connect with because there's so much going on. So what's interesting to me is like it sounds like a pretty kind of like just like a mellower flow if there's not so many events to choose from. I did want what was I wanted to ask something about the side events like, oh, so and of course New York, like at NFT and NYC, you can 100% go and not purchase a ticket and not go to the event hall once, and you can be busy and you can go to like as many side events as you want a day. You could do 6 a day. I've kind of brought it down to like I'll do like 3 a day or something in my
Yeah.
old age, right? Because
Yeah.
I went crazy the first couple years, and I was like, I went to 9 events today, and it's like a couple hours at each one, and a lot of time like in
Mm-hmm.
traffic and moving. Like to me, it's nicer to be like, oh, 3 or 4 like 3 events and then like a closeout event or something. So yeah, I'd be interested to know, and maybe it'll be different next year. It might be a lot bigger. There might be more side events, but
Mm-hmm.
would it be something where like, oh yeah, I went or I live in the city, let's say. I don't anymore. I used to. But if I lived in the city, would have there been just a bunch of activities to be able to hit side events for those few days?
Mm.
Yeah, no, exactly. So there was a lot of people that I met or that I knew, and another reason why I went other than Django was we have a big New York City crowd, not just in the ZAO, but Web3 music, eco as well. So just three or four of the biggest events that were super open. There were a lot of individuals I met there that lived in New York, didn't sometimes even know FarCon was happening, right? And we're just there at an event, or they knew it was happening and they were like, "Yeah, this is an event. I got invited to by someone. I wanted to rock it out with them, meet them, blah blah blah." Or they were like, "Okay, like this was a good opportunity to network," and it was just like on the random list of networking events that this New York City person was doing in their day to day routine, which again seems nuts. Living in New York is a whole wild ball game. But I
Wow.
was gonna say on one of the things you said, I truly believe that the reason in-person experiences are triumphant in creating a lasting ecosystem is because of the in between times is like what I like to call them. And it's the times that like you just said you hit 3 or 6 events, but in between those times you are able to talk to other individuals, whoever you're traveling with, right? From event to event, you pick up different groups of individuals and then you kind of like go with different groups. Sometimes you have a core group of people. I like to rock it solo a bunch of times. This was another opportunity to rock it solo so a little bit here and there. I did have a bunch of people that I did meet up with and meet and jump with for a couple events. But it's always awesome to rock it solo. But those times that is in between that you get that like just chit chat time to just like get to know someone a little bit better that's not in a business sense, I think that adds a lot of value in the networking aspect. So
Well, you're
one
making
of those
friends. You like
exactly
go
and
grab
one
it.
of
You're
those
like, let's grab a slice or like some sushi or what, and you're just like, it's someone you just met or a couple of people that you wind up like in their little crew going from one thing to another, and they're like, oh, we're gonna grab kebab, like whatever it is. Those are like totally special times where you can't replicate that virtually really. It's something where you're in person, the energy's there, and yeah, you're going to grab a slice or get a coffee and a pastry, whatever the like environment is doesn't really matter. It's about being excited about something with another individual that you maybe know a little bit from online. Like you're like, oh, you're so and so, like that you did a dope post the other day on this, and I followed you because of that. And then you start talking, you're like, oh, like, we have
yeah.
these similar interests, and you wind up making friends.
1,000,000%. And I was gonna say one of the times was that I had with Ohnahji was one of those in between times where we spent an hour getting out to Brooklyn, I think is where it was, for an event because we were like, okay, we need to go to this event. We really want to see these people. We know we got to make it out there. Fuck it, let's travel together. Let's make this our trip fun by chatting it up. And we actually on one of the other trips back, I think we added someone to our group as well. So I don't know. What you were gonna say something, Brian, but I cut you off.
Yeah, so in the chat, Rec was saying he's like 2BH. I don't know what y'all talking about, like the actual conference and stuff. So I was just explaining it in
Oh,
the chat. But
that's a
he
good
said, yeah,
point.
I like in-person spaces. Um, but sometimes money can be a barrier though, and that's true. I think that's kind of the pros and cons to it. It's like, yeah, it costs money to kind of put this together. Sometimes you got to get a flight to go. Like I couldn't make it out to New York for FarCon this year. I wish
Okay, I
I
will
wish I would have
tell
went.
you, I figured it out. By the way, also exactly how much I spent. This is why it was also my favorite conference. I spent 400 and not because of this specifically, but I'll like lay it out for you how I made this work because like you said, it's super hard sometimes, but like I knew I needed to make this one work because this social media side of things to me really piques my interest in the long-term future of Web3 and I think Warcast is doing it really well. So being there and being in this like room, like one of the first events, first day, on-chain creator house had Ready, easy. You've used a lot of these platforms, and Onaji, you've also used a lot of these platforms. So it was really cool to be like, oh, I know this from these people. So I believe if I'm not wrong, so Octant was there, Rodeo was there, Matcha was there, um, and there was one or two. Oh, Base was there with the Coinbase wallet, beta, and there was another brand there. that was helping sponsor this event. But they each had representatives there to like share more about their product. They created bounties for every single one. So it's just a really cool overall time to be in that room with so many different creators on this like new social media platform that we're all trying to like create on. And like the nice thing about in person is like you can really decipher who people are or who are online personalities versus not, and then B, like it's a lot more of a like just talking with individuals, meeting people, and it's not a like this like online game of follower account, this and that. And like there's a person in the room with that's literally just getting on Warpcast, and there's a person in this room that has 300,000 followers on Warpcast, right? And it's just like the range of people, but you wouldn't even know because all these individuals are also different. So that was just a really cool time because it was really cool to like now start meeting people in the eco and like getting my name out there. Like I feel like my first time doing that was the UVR, my first ever event, Miami 2023, when I went out to meet all of the UVR individuals. And that was my first opportunity to get my name like really out there because the in-person events were like those places where you can make those longer lasting connections. Because I feel like when you kind of see someone online that you've met in person and you know their vibe and you're like about their vision, you are like, okay, we're on the same team in this online game that we're all playing. And like, I will send you some engagement and try and support you so that you can benefit from it. And conversely, right, like inherently doing that to all of these amazing builders will be able to grow this ecosystem of this on-chain builder ecosystem.
It definitely like
Creator.
solidifies those relationships, because yeah, you can know somebody through posts, and maybe on a couple platforms you've hung out with them at a metaverse music concert, you follow them on Twitter, you follow them on Warpcast, you interact here and there. But then when you meet in person, especially when you have like a big similar interest, like you're both in the kind of web3 music scene, then you're like, oh damn, we gotta like work together, we gotta collaborate on some stuff. And so you wind up, then you have a lot more of the virtual and digital interactions going forward. But yeah, so it's definitely a really good opportunity to solidify relationships and build collaborations and stuff. I think there's the in-person on the ground events are a huge like multiplier for the relationship building in Web3 for sure.
I love it. I love it. There's a in the chat, Rec was talking about there and Z pops up. Um but yeah, it's sometimes we got to look at it though. It is kind of like a privilege to get out to some of these events and different things like that. I think for me,
uh,
it's like you'll kind of see that though. You'll see like people that are at these in-person events and they're there for the networking, they're there for building. Easy, you're talking about like I'm meeting new people, I'm like, how can I further this relationship, how can we build something in the future? And I think that kind of goes without saying, is because people are spending their money. And even if they're super rich and they're whatever, this is nothing to them to get out there, it's still
that's a good point.
time, right? It's still time that they're investing or they're spending to be in here and try to network or further these different relationships and stuff. So that was a great point, Rack. It's like, yeah, we gotta recognize that sometimes, especially when we're taking ecosystems and we're taking communities and stuff that are built online, right? Which is an easier lift for a lot of people, right? Regardless, for money or just, internet access is a whole lot easier for someone in the Midwest or someone, overseas to go out to a conference in LA or New York or Miami or something like that, right? It's a lot lower lift, but I think that does make kind of the magic happen. So like I'll tell people if you can, like, even if it's just one event every couple years or something like that, just make the most of it, pull your money together, save, just think about you're investing in yourself in your own network when you're getting out to these events. But you have to keep that in mind. You got to go out there and you got to do the work. You can't just be a wallflower. Like, you got to go up and meet people. You got to introduce yourself and all that good stuff as well too. So yeah, it was a good point,
That's
Rack.
huge.
Appreciate you. Hmm.
That's huge. Like, you could go to an event, you could spend thousands, and like it's tough. Like, dude, I didn't think I was gonna even go to NFT NYC this year, and like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it happen. Um, But yeah, it's, dude, it's expensive to the flights, a place to stay, food. I mean, a lot of times you can get like at events they have food and stuff too. So a lot of times you do wind up like not having to spend a lot amount maybe on food, but a place to stay in New York and flights and getting around, like it can really add up. And so I look at it absolutely as an investment in myself. I am investing in myself so that people can also meet me. Like, I'm not just trying to like, I want to meet people, but I want people to also get to know me. Like, I don't want to be just a name on a screen that, like, shares some pictures and plays some games. Like, I want people to know who I am, what I'm about, what my dreams and passions are, and, like, maybe even get some paid work. Like, year before last, NFTNYC, like, led to a job that I had for like, 9, 10 months. That was like a good job. Like, I mean, stuff in the industry is, up and down. And so that it doesn't always last forever. But, so there are opportunities, but you can't just go and then be like, well, I went. And now I'm disappointed because I didn't like get a hookup or meet all these people because I just kind of like stood there and listened to the music. Like, you've got to go, and like, even if you don't, like, you don't have to go like look for like influencers to talk to or something. You just talk to people. Like, someone's got a cool hat on. You're like, yo, dude, I love that hat. And then you wind up talking. You're like, oh shit, I know you. You're so and so. Like, we went to a virtual whatever together. And then he's like, oh damn, you're so and so. So there's all these
Yeah.
just like fun moments that happen that wind up creating these relationships. But it's a big lift. And I really hope that we start to see more smaller events in like every city and every country where people, even if it's just, yo, we're gonna do a small get together in like this my hometown cafe. If there's anybody in the surrounding 3 towns that can come and just hang out and talk about Web3, like, let's do it. I would love to see, like, when we have a little more mass adoption or whatever. When the
Hmm.
community has grown some more, I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for like small little events, whether it's a little music event and a small show. You have like the local Web3 people get together and then actually meet each other. You might have like a homie down the street or 10 blocks over or whatever that is into the same kind of stuff you are, and you have no idea who they are. You don't know them online, but you could
Hmm.
have a connection right there in your hometown or your city or so I look forward to the day when there's a lot more just small meetups scattered all over the world.
Well said.
Start it up, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So
do it.
I was gonna say, you said that a bunch of events have food and stuff. I felt like I did not spend a lot of money on food while I was there in New York for the first time because Thr 3 days they had events for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? And all of those I had a lunch at, and some of them I had a second food at, right? Like, and I feel like that's enough, right? Like, I'll maybe have something at the beginning of the day. I'll definitely have something at the super late end, but that's fine. I'll pay for that, right? Like, it is what it is. Like, that's 10, 15 bucks. I'll try and find something cheap, right? But that opportunity I think was huge because the ability to kind of just be there. I'm super blessed. Another thing I'm grateful for is the ability to go to New York and have a place to stay. I was able to stay at two different family friends places, which is huge, and just the opportunity to be with them was amazing. And super blessed that I can have that opportunity to go there and do that. But like you guys said, it's huge. It's all about how you take it and how you approach it and getting out there and yeah, I think FarCon and I guess we can start talking more into Farcaster as a whole is a super interesting aspect of conferences because it's about a set social networking platform that's in emerging tech, right? So um it's not just a crypto conference, but social networking, right? And one of the things with that, I wrote my pros and cons, right? So one of the pros I had was that I really liked about it was it had one website, the FarCon website that had all the events and it had all over New York, like where they were. So you could kind of see like how far apart all of them were from each other and like where the different ones were. Um, And then I also did like some of the event organizers did a really good job with setting like preset prompts, like a couple of days before getting ready for the event, a couple hours before, or I guess day of, right? And then at the beginning of the event, like telling people where to go, all those like important details. And one of the things I just like really feel like they did well was they also had these NFC chips at the summit that people wore as their name tags. They were name tags. They were
So
NFC chips, but
clutch.
they had their PFP, right?
Why?
So every time you go out to these conferences, you know lots of people sometimes by only their digital avatar. And because of that, I feel like the having the digital avatar and your name on a name tag that you can tap and then icebreaker meet them, get all their links with is huge. And I think that'll be adopted at a lot more places. I've heard icebreaker's been around for a couple of years and they've been rocking it out, but it sounds like really cool technology and definitely something that I feel like if we ever organize anything or do an event, that's a huge part of what we need to do is those like name tags with NFC chips with also that like profile
Dude,
username where people who sign up and like get in on time and like actually properly do all these things can't have this pre-printed out thing, right?
that's
And that
massive,
adds to the networking like insane.
dude.
So that was really cool.
That's huge. One of the things about one, well, there's a lot of great things about NFT and NYC. One of the gripes a bunch of us have had is like the name tag thing. Like it's like speaker, VIP pass speaker, and then it says my legal name. Nobody knows me by like everybody at the event knows me by Easy. Like anybody that does know me knows me by EZinCrypto, not my like legal name. Like nobody knows me through that. So when I got my last year, now they do. I think they give you maybe a nickname thing that you can request to be on your name tag. But I'd go and get my ticket, and then I go stand in another line, which is for like if your ticket's messed up or something, and I stand in that line for quite a while usually, and then I say, look, I would really like to just have EZinCrypto here. Doesn't matter if the other name's there or not, like if you need it there or what. And every year I go through the same process of getting my ticket, standing in line again to get my ticket reprinted where it says EZinCrypto. Because if I'm wearing that and someone sees that, they're like, yo, EZinCrypto, we met at so and so, whatever event or wherever the interaction was. But that stayed in their name, in their mind, not like Ezra, whatever. So and having your PFP, massive. That's huge because everybody knows you by your PFP. Nobody knows you by like maybe because we stream on camera, people can recognize our faces, they can recognize our voices, but your PFP and your screen name, that is what everybody in the industry would know you by. So that's huge to have that and to be able to just click it and like have it open up your to your contacts or you could register your Twitter and your Warpcast and stuff. And I saw a lot of fun goodies. In other people's posts, the little arch, the little purple arch, like there was some other little swag stuff that looked really cool. So that's huge. I think that should be adopted by any major conference. You should have an NFC tag, and you should be able to have your badge, with your PFP. Yeah.
Next level.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's dope.
You have anything else to add? I feel
No.
like you have a lot of thoughts in that brain. I'm kind of curious what you're thinking over
No,
there.
I am. I'm just thinking like from like the chat's point of view though, like because I know they're probably like, what is he talking? What are we talking about? Which is dope though, because I think, um, in a lot of conversations, especially when I got started early in like blockchain and crypto and stuff, whatever. A lot of the conversations are like that, where I was like, there's like a circle back moment when you go further down the line, you're like, oh, okay, that's what the heck they were talking about. So I mean,
That's
you're
a
talking
very
about
good way of saying it.
right.
Well,
Okay.
PFP is your profile picture, and most of us that have been
Digital
in the
avatar is
yeah,
what I
in the
like to say.
blockchain space is like we have an image that represents us. Sometimes people change it up a lot. I'm someone that I've had the same little cowboy, green alien cowboy hat wearing guy for years and years on my Twitter, on my Warpcast, on my whatever, wherever you go, on my Telegram, on my Discord, almost everywhere it's the same image, and everywhere I also have my name as EZinCrypto. So if someone's going to recognize me, they're going to recognize me for that, not for my mug and my legal given name. So yeah, that's bit like to kind of break it
Do you
down for
do you think that hurts us as a space, or do you think that like helps us? Or because I think for me, especially like I was having this conversation earlier with my wife too. It's like the whole like content creation stuff right now, and like the whole merger we're having with like AI. It's like more and more people are going to have to put their face on the internet, just because it's like everything else is going to be like what's real, what's not. You know what I'm saying? So I think more people are going to dive into that. But I think the way, like blockchain crypto kind of got started is where we had this huge focus on anonymous characters, right? And I think, does that hurt us, or does that help us in the long run? I think it's probably both. You could probably argue both
yeah.
ways. Just because like we're talking now, you have to go to IRL conventions. Like, no, I got to get my badge reprinted because I gotta,
Right.
switch it up to this and this avatar and this, this handle, this, all that good stuff. So it's just for me, that's what I'd be thinking about. Z, it's just like, is that like the right way to do it, or is that just the evolution of the space, evolution of the things? That's all.
I think there's both there because in it just sort of happened like in this weird experimental social organic way,
Right.
and we kind of just are stuck with it now. I mean, you could change it, like, and I know people that just entered the space with their name and their face, and maybe they're a little better off. I don't know. I mean, there would be benefits, especially if you're looking to maybe work in an area that's a little more like kind of corporate. And there's a lot of that now merging of kind of like corpo crypto stuff. So if you wanted to work in an area for a company that is kind of standard Web 2 company, but they're coming into Web 3, you'd probably be better off with your name, and maybe an avatar PFP picture of some like weird cat or something wouldn't hurt too much, but at least having your name, right, your real name, so that like as in a business way. But in blockchain, in Web3, like I've had a lot of different jobs, and like people are like, "Yo, EZinCrypto," like it has never hurt me per se yet. So I do think there are drawbacks, and there are also some benefits.
I think you're speaking to a whole little can of worms. I agree. Like there's many people in the space that only know me by Ohnahji. Don't like think that I'm just Ohnahji the person. Oh shoot. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you're good. I
dude,
totally get that.
there's people that I'm like would say I'm good friends with, and I can't think of their name off the top of my head. Like I have to really give it some thought to be like, oh, like I know them by their screen name, by their PFP, by their handle, and I've known them for years, 6, 7 years, right? And I could be hard pressed to tell you their actual name.
Yeah,
Facts.
no, I think that's the fact of digital communities. One of the things that I really liked when I joined Web3 was the fact that a lot of Web3 communities right now use Discord as a platform. Like right now, we're calling on Discord. The ZAO has our weekly calls on Discord. A lot of channels. We all are probably close up to our maximum of 200 channels. But essentially, Discord was something that I had been using for quite some time before, probably like for the last 5, 7 years before I joined Web3. So just kind of being in part of these kind of online communities and understanding how it worked and understanding the mentality behind it, and then going from that to financializing everything and tokenizing the every each community and just like adding that aspect to everything in the digital ecosystem kind of just changed the perspective on everything. And it was like, oh, okay, now we can use this for networking. Now we can leverage this in a lot of different ways. Okay, let's rock it out. And I think being able to be fluent with or semi-fluent. I mean, there's so many new things that Discord has built since I joined that I have no idea how any of that works. But Discord's a really cool tool, and being able to just jump into these all these online communities, kind of like you said before. They're still a thing, but it's just now we're kind of coming together in these like-minded shared groups that can all push together a financial goal, right?
And one of the, thinking back now, I'm like remembering things from the early days. Like part of the reason that we did, or a lot of us did go for creating an identity in this kind of new Web3 cryptosphere. We were pushing for, artist royalties. It was something new for digital art, right? Artist royalties for music, art, dance, whatever you're doing on the blockchain, right? And we were pushing for like being able to chase your dreams that you had just packed down way far away because you go to school, you get a degree, you get just like the creativity beat out of you, and you're like, I need a job. And, so all this life experience before for your whole life has told you all these things, and then you meet a group of people that are like, no, you can be an artist, you can mint your photography that all your life you wanted to do but you didn't think you were good enough. So you were like, in that time it was like you were like almost like people were like, come on, like create this identity that you want to be, where you don't have to be easy. Like you could be whatever. You can be a robot in the metaverse, you could be a cat, you could be a cactus. I chose an alien cowboy. Like you could be anything to create this image and this name around, and then just
Love
go
that.
forth into like the virtual space and like make yourself that, right? So it was this huge opportunity to kind of change out of your old skin that like lots of people maybe felt sort of stuck in, and show another side of yourself. So it was very liberating too, to like be like, I'm gonna choose this. I like this image. I'm gonna put that on my, that's my face now, and this is my name, and I'm into music and art and all these things that in my like old real life I couldn't really do much with, but it's what I love. So there was a liberating part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That's super dope. And I've seen, a bunch of people across many communities that have that same thought, that same ethos. It's interesting though, because when you have that kind of, you have a like a global space with that kind of freedom. You'll either have people that want to create an avatar where they can do whatever they want. They can, steal from whoever they want, rug pull, do whatever they want. On the other hand, you have people just like easy, like you're saying, like we just want to be artists. Like we were forced into a different box. We didn't really want to, we want to experiment and try something else, artistically or financially or whatever, right? And I think it's cool too. And I think, tying it back to the IRL events, it's like you'll see those kind of people that will be able to come out and show their face regardless, like only those type of people can come out to those events. Because if the rug pullers and the scammers come out to those events, people can tell that off top. It's like it's really hard to be in somebody's face talking to them, introducing yourself, and you're like, what's up with that guy? You know what I'm saying? It's hard to have those intentions, face
It
to
adds a lot
face.
of credibility.
Exactly, exactly. Which I think, pushes the IRL events, that much further, because you have people who are, quote unquote, in a new skin, this rebirth or whatever, into this new whatever they want to actually be, and they be able to, be their true authentic self, and then find a tribe that has those same interests as well too. It's pretty groundbreaking. A lot of people talk about that part of the space. So yeah, shout out to you, Easy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, we're really breaking ground here. It's always awesome to be here with you guys. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Let's
There's
jump
so
into.
many.
You
Yeah,
wanted to
what's
talk
up?
about like Farcast, Warpcast stuff too, right? Because
Yeah,
there's a
so I
lot going
mean,
on.
you said you just got your first $10 reward, which is exciting. Congrats.
Thanks.
That's an exciting thing that they do over the Farcaster ecosystem. One of the reasons why we think Farcaster is a really cool social media platform is that every single Tuesday you get monetized if you're within the top
1,000?
2,500,
Yeah, I
12,
think so. Yeah,
1,000 maybe,
couple
1,000
thousand.
plus. And if you're in that group of people, and there's not a lot of people on this app because it's a very new app, you can get monetized and get a portion of money from the app every single week. And that's really cool in and of itself. And you were just saying that you got your highest reward this week, so that's super
Yeah.
exciting to kind of see that growth and being able to just like really just join, share things you like, and monetize off rip.
And I hadn't even like I didn't change a lot of what I'm doing. I over the last few months, I was like I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to like post every day. I do my, I have a nature like streak going where every day I post some of the photos I take usually on my daily walk. And so that's just something that I like to do anyways. And so I share some of that and other people do similar stuff. And now I have people that like every day they're like, oh, I love this photo or whatever. And I have other people that share photos and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Check this out. I took a picture of the moon like, a year ago and your shot reminded me of it and I shared that. So I had been getting $3 a week for probably a couple months, maybe six weeks at least. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm like on the kind of like payroll now just for like being consistent. And then, yesterday, boom, it's like Warpcast sent you $10 USDC. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't even, like, I wasn't expecting it. So it was a great surprise. And of course, I got DGen, which is the, kind of the native token. I locked some of that up so that I have an allowance that doesn't come from me. It comes from like a central wallet that I can give to other people. So every day I can tip out like 100 DGen. So I give usually like 3 people get tips from me just because I locked up some DGen. So there's this whole economy that is very interesting. I think pretty experimental, and it's really cool to be a part of. And it was felt really good to see. Hey, I made it to like the top 500 like percentile or whatever it is to get $10. So
Yeah.
that was cool.
No, shout out to you, Easy. No, no, don't downplay it. The $10 prize is 300. Yeah, so 300 after the 200 after 20 after 10. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's big
top
time.
530
There you
is
go.
basically what it is. So killer, you rocked
25
it out,
next.
and
25 next, Easy. Keep climbing.
Yep, just gonna keep climbing.
I
Cool,
needed to go
cool.
to FarCon to hit 25. That was my whole thing. I spent so however much money here. I got my $25 back
Nice.
for going out there. But I digress. It was I think one of the really cool things also about Farcaster is these starter packs. And I think these are a lot of good ways of onboarding new people into the ecosystem. I've created a ZAO starter pack for our ecosystem and the individuals that we have with these two amazing individuals as a part of it. So if you join, if you go to my profile, there's a button for starter packs, and you can click that and you can follow every single person that's in our community. And if you're in our community, immediately have your timeline with folks that are casting that are within our community. So that's always super exciting. And I think that's like a lever that people don't realize how good that can be for bringing new folks in and growing that social media graph and following.
Super helpful, by the way, because like you don't really think about who you're not following very often. And so when I saw you drop the starter pack, I was like, oh, boom, I'm gonna check that out. And there was like I was following most, but there was at least like 4 or 5 people that I know that I want to be following that I sort of assumed I was following that I wasn't following yet. So I was like, oh, damn, follow, 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 follow. Now I'm following everybody, like, feel much better. I know I'm going to see their stuff because, spending so many years on Twitter, like, you're following just like a couple thousand people, thousands of people are following you. What, like, it's a way different mechanism, I think, over there. So when you come over to Farcast or Warpcast, you kind of think like, oh, I'm following all my crew, and then you realize like, oh, damn, I'm not following so and so that I know really well. I'm not following so and so that I worked with, or like, So it's good to just like check out people's starter packs and be like, oh, damn, like I need to follow these people. And sometimes it's somebody that you thought you were following. Sometimes it's just somebody that does cool stuff, builds cool
Mhm.
stuff, like whatever reason, and you're like, oh yeah, I've seen this person like cast here and there. I know they do cool stuff. I want to be following them. And
It's
there's so
dope.
many frames, mini apps dropping lately. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of that whole old school Twitter list vibe. So it's pretty cool. There, But it's tight to see, like, people building these new social platforms. They get to pick and choose like all their favorite pieces that made all these other apps great, which is cool, and that's how innovation works, right? So, it's tight. It's tight. Put in the chat. We're talking
Yeah.
new social protocol, Farcaster, and the app that has been going crazy on that Warpcast. How do you guys feel about the creators about to change the name over to Farcaster and just saying, have you seen
At
that?
first, yeah, at first I
Uh,
was like, why? I love Warpcast. It sounds so like futuristic and cool. But when I read arguments about it, it makes total sense because why do you have this whole like Farcaster ecosystem, this whole protocol, and then you don't call the main app it? Like, so I have come over from the I'm bummed they're changing the name to like that makes sense, you know.
Well, I don't. At first, I don't think it was like the top dog app, though, right? I think that's just one of the things that kind of happens in
Oh,
the space where
yeah.
you put out a protocol and you say build on it, and the app that wins out or
yeah.
becomes the biggest, like they can have the discussions on should we just change our name to Farcaster? Like that's it is what it is. They were grinded.
Yep.
That's what
Same.
I like. You said that other side of it, and that's where I feel where it's like the whole idea for me initially with Farcaster when I first joined in, and what I really liked about it was that it was this protocol that anyone could build their own client on and could build like a piece of their innovation onto it and be able to move their following graph along with that within each client. I do get I understand the reasoning by the company for wanting the name change. By the same token, I also think that leads us away from an actual DSO environment of decentralized social media. Because to me, that feels like centralizing it more personally. And that's fine. Like that's probably best for the ecosystem, to be honest with you. But I also feel like if you're gonna say the ethos is something a couple years ago and then change that, then who knows what's gonna change again in the future, especially if it's centralized by, like you said, it was the main dog, but now it is. If it has more than 50% of that share, they just moved their whole ecosystem to a whole nother chain, I believe, right? So it's like uh, base at any point could move their whole L2 off of Optimism, stop paying Optimism all these fees. So it's just like it all matters really. You have to really understand the tech stack that you're playing with in this space. That's one of the biggest challenges I think is like if you're thinking long term, you want to build for more than 5, 10 years, like 30-year time frame, right? That you're really trying to like game it out and you have the ability you have to understand you have to be super agile but also understanding like where are we going to build these long-term things on if you don't know what's going to last in 2 years, never mind 4 years, never mind 30, right? So I think one of the things that comes there is understanding your tech stack and being very aware of the people you are working with in this industry specifically and where their words don't align with their actions and kind of paying attention to the actions of what folks are doing and kind of where they're moving and following that.
You actually kind of scared me because I'm like, damn, in a couple years, where is the tech gonna be? Like, what? Like, then that's huge. And I think the majority of users don't understand the tech stack. I would be in that like part that is like understands a little. I'm no dev, but I've like been on a lot of dev calls and I've like vibe coded and like I know a bit, but so that is a big that's like a looming cloud, bro. That's kind of crazy. And I mean, similar when they changed the name from Frames to Mini Apps. I was like, I like Frames. Like it's built inside the thing. It's like this little window frame. But the arguments were like, look, people don't know what a frame is, yo. Like they gonna get mini apps. Everybody's gonna understand what a mini app is. And so same, I got sort of like okay, that makes sense. You're right. Like your argument's better than, but this is cool. So like
I
I've been
do want to say
persuaded.
if you want to have one argument, one thing they have not integrated with mini apps that they're saying, it's Frames V2 is the one click. They used to have with Frames one click from your timeline. You don't even have to go anywhere, and you're immediately able to buy something out of your warplet.
Right.
Right now, you have to open a mini app, press buy, approve the transaction, 3 clicks. which is like, okay, I get it, and I understand. Hopefully that they put it in, but like Farcaster, like where is that? I feel like that's a big part of the like trading side and the liquidity side of like as little friction as possible to get someone to
Totally.
buy your coin. And I think that is a huge part of the ecosystem that like to me is why there's so much potential with this tech stack.
Yeah. And I don't like that now you have to, when you click on a mini app and you had another one open, it's like, are you sure you want to close? Well, I wouldn't click on it if I didn't want to close. Just close it and open the other one without asking me a freaking intermediary like question. Like, yes, just always close it. Like, or if I could turn that off, give me the option to turn that off. Like,
That's
so
a hilarious thing to be
I,
upset about, but I love it.
I am, and I totally agree with you. The one click, like that's so smooth, and I love being able to like purchase a pods like just by clicking like buy that or purchase the NFT. And yeah, you need to sign the transaction. That's okay, but it should just be click sign. It shouldn't be click open the mini app sign. Like you're right, it should be as quick and easy as possible to do transactions. The other thing is, when do we get video in mini apps, right? So I can record a little thing while I'm walking and I'm on my walk, and I can share a little video from my walk instead of only being able to share a photo. Farhouse, incredible. Standalone app is available, but also they dropped the mini app frame. So the last Farhouse Friday, we had 62 people come through, which is like umpteenth times better than ever before because people can just find it in their feed and join in the frame. They don't have to have the app to be able to come and listen. So it used to be like 4 people, you know, 6 on a good day. And now 62 people came through. Peak was 32. So, but 60 some odd people came, hung out, left. Some other people came, hung out, left. And we usually do like 3 hour shows, so that's fine. But so those are really cool things. But yeah, video integration would be dope.
Very good point. I
And
know one or two of my musicians aren't posting because of that. Sorry, what were you gonna say, B?
no, I think we're in a great space though, because like this is like one of the first times, or to me, where you can be using an app or you can be using a social platform and you know who's building it. You can send them a message, or you can hit them with a
Yeah.
DM. This is that
Well, no,
really to
not
where
even just that. You can freaking build it yourself with
you could
mini
build it
apps. You
yourself. Yeah.
people are building these integrations, like you said, the Farhouse people were like, okay, let's build a mini app within this and let's get some folks there. I
Mhm.
think mini apps are gonna be the next wave of developers coming over and understanding that they can get distribution for a product as soon as possible. Having that MVP and being able to immediately get feedback on that MVP on how to improve it, I think mini apps is gonna change the game for that.
Dude, Farcade, millions and millions of people have played those little games in the Farcade mini app. So right, just and I'm
Including myself.
almost done. I haven't had the time to finish, but I've got a game that's like 99% done. I even got the feedback. There's like a few bugs, and this was like a month ago. I just haven't had the time to just put like 6 more hours in or 4 more hours in, whatever it is, because I've just had a lot of
Mhm.
family stuff and different things going on. But I'm super close. I want to try and get that finished up in the next week or two for sure, and have my own game that I made. Made the images for and the background and the ship and the audio, like everything. Of course, using ChatGPT and Grok and whatnot. But yeah, it's a very exciting time. And also, there's actually a airdrop where if you do host rooms in Farhouse, or just participate, listening, or co-host, you're getting points like daily points, and like there's like daily points and like season points or something. But this is leading up to an airdrop, so it's worth just like firing up a show, random day. People come in, you have a conversation, or joining somebody's thing. I believe you do have to maybe you have to host a couple before you then get like the reputation to be earning. I think there is some little intermediary, but it's worth if you start getting active in the Farhouse ecosystem. There is airdrop coming, and it's from I'm blanking on their name. What's it? They have the meeting thing that we've used too. I
Huddle.
want to say,
Huddle.
yeah, Huddle. Yeah, so it's the Huddle
Yeah.
team that have created this, and it's
No,
like
I love it.
The Huddle token airdrop is coming. The more you use Farhouse, the more you're gonna get. So that's another.
Perfect.
I know I have a
What a
couple
good
friends who
way
do it.
to wrap it up. The more you use it, the more you're gonna get. I think some of the benefit of this space is the fact that being a consumer in the digital space can finally lead to you getting money if you just play around and be in the space for a little bit. And I think that's a really cool prospect to a lot of folks, especially in those countries, like you said, that don't have a lot of processing power but can access all of this with just like a cheap mobile phone, right? And I think that's huge. Do you want to have some closing thoughts? Easy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, just super glad to be back. I'm already looking forward to next week. If you do want to earn some huddle points, check out Farhouse Friday, which this will be the 21st or 22nd week. I think this will be the 21st week of our Farhouse Friday. Again, you can access that very easily in the Warpcast mini app frame of Farhouse. And yeah, stoked to be here. Stay safe out there and hodl the vibes.
For
Million
sure.
percent. Ohnahji B.
For sure. Just want to say, appreciate all the viewers. We up to 5, 6 viewers in the stream today. So appreciate y'all. I want to give a special shout out to Alex though. I don't think he's in. He's streaming right now. But I had a talk with Alex a couple weeks ago about an AI class workshop that I was putting together. I actually had that on Thursday and it went really well. Easy triggered that in my mind because we were talking about AI and vibe coding and stuff. But I was teaching them some different new chatbots and stuff and Google Gemini and things like that. One of the kids in there, he was coding up playable games in Gemini in the class, and I was like, okay, the
Okay,
kids.
so give us the Gemini. What's the in the 1 minute? What are the workflows and best practices that of things that we should be using right now if we're gonna get into it?
For Gemini. Well,
No,
I
no,
mean,
no, not Gemini. LLMs in general right now. Where do you say for pricing that it is value that you get? I get that like people use LLMs for different things, but let's
yeah.
just say like do you have specific thoughts for specific use cases that you're using things right now? Like what are you using?
I still use Claude a lot for any coding, a lot of coding. I know you or actually one of my homies he mentioned V0, so I need to play with that. I know,
Yeah, I
that's
just
been going
started playing
crazy.
with that. The free
Yeah.
version gives you like 20 prompts maybe, and I
Does
like
it?
got to it twice and then like I was like, okay, I waited like a day and then I did it once more and then I waited a day and I was like kind of forgot about it. So I do
Right.
have to buy it. Like it is probably worth it because I do use Vercel for some things, but I actually recently just pushed my Discord bot to a website that has it 24/7 running. Kind of it's the server and that's really cool as well. So Vercel, I think, is another amazing way to do that and amazing things we can do. But we got Prism in here just as we're wrapping up. Maybe we can end the stream and then chat with our friend Prism here, unless you were watching it and have any amazing words to share. You're super welcome to share. But we were actually just about to end here.
Knew that would happen.
Okay, I'm gonna end my stream and we can just say hi.
All right, y'all. We out of here. We'll catch you
Hey,
next week.
cheers. Oh shoot, yeah, I probably should have said
No, we're good.
that.
We're
But
good.
yeah,
Let's talk about Web3. We
bro,
in the building.
Ohnahji B's stream. Appreciate you all for popping in. Let's
Yeah,
talk about
much love.
Web3.
All